welcome. This is the comedy show where Americans in America covering American news are called foreign agents. And thank you for being foreign agents with us. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been ruthlessly attacked this week, and I feel a bit responsible. I might have accidentally tainted her Twitter feed with my truth serum. But that sounds weird, so let me back up. You might recall that on a previous show, I covered the $21 trillion that has gone unaccounted for at the Pentagon. That's right, trillion with a T. And I feel like every time this topic is even mentioned, it should come with like a little suffix. Just a little suffix right there. And that suffix should be, $21 trillion! God damn it, with a pineapple up your butthole, what the hell? It's right there, right there. Anyway, the 21 trillion includes $6.5 trillion unaccounted for in 2015 alone. And when I covered this a few months ago, really the only two journalists looking into it were David DeGraw, writing for his own website, and a single Forbes article, which was co-written by the economist who discovered the unaccounted adjustments, Mark Skidmore. And by discovered, I don't mean Skidmore like found a dusty shoebox in Donald Rumsfeld's old desk underneath the, the baby skeletons, underneath the baby skeletons. No, I mean, he took a minute to look at the Defense Department's own Inspector General's report. So really, he just bothered to look at the thing that was designed for the public to look at. That's what he did. Anyway, after the Redacted Tonight episode came out, it got hundreds of thousands of views. My Truth Dig article on the same topic also went viral, and so did that Forbes article. Yet despite all of that, still not a word from Congress, not a word from the hacks at your mainstream media outlets. But then, just a few weeks ago, something significant was said by the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Patrick Shanahan. It happened in a quiet news dump on a press conference that actually began like this. Deputy Secretary of Defense. So you guys know why I came down here today? Reporter, to see if we ate the donuts? Just because we're murdering people all around the world doesn't mean we can't have fun, right, folks? Whackity, schmackity, doo. During that silly, wacky press conference, the Deputy Secretary of Defense casually mentioned halfway through that the Pentagon had failed its first ever audit. The first time the Pentagon had ever been audited, even though it was legally required to do so since the early 90s. And after Shanahan dropped that bombshell, here's what followed. Reporter, what part did the Pentagon fail in the audit? Shanahan, how about I give you like the technical version of that? There are a considerable number of areas where we kind of had a pass. And then there's some other ones where they went through and they said, we went into your inventory system and we didn't find these things, and therefore there's a finding, so you don't have a clean assessment. So, and in a lot of these audits, it's the type of finding that matters. So, pretty cut and dry. I think that handles all the questions. Thank you very much. And still, even this story didn't get much press. As far as I can tell, the New York Times didn't report on the audit failure until last week, and even that article had this caveat. But audits are hard work. Most defense officials aren't business experts, and to some, bookkeeping and other management operations just aren't a priority in wartime, which, since September 11th, has been a permanent state. Yeah, we're in a forever war, so they can do whatever they want. In the New York Times defense, though, there are different kinds of reporting. The genre for that piece is called crap reporting. So, in the category of crap reporting, that's not that bad. If they want to learn what real reporting looks like, they can check out the investigative expose from The Nation magazine that came out a couple of days ago. The Nation said, for decades, the DOD's leaders and accountants have been perpetrating a gigantic unconstitutional accounting fraud, deliberately cooking the books to mislead the Congress and drive the DOD's budgets ever higher. DOD has literally been making up numbers in its annual financial reports to Congress, representing trillions of dollars worth of seemingly non-existent transactions. According to government records and interviews with current and former DOD officials, congressional sources, and independent experts. Boom! Right? And the next page in The Nation looked like this. So here's how this fraud works. Every year, the Pentagon tells Congress how much money they need. They submit the financial reports from the year before, filled to the brim with heaping, steaming bullshit. All right? Trillions of gallons of bullshit called adjustments. Those adjustments cover up the fact that they didn't necessarily spend all the money the year before. However, instead of returning such unspent funds to the U.S. Treasury, as law requires, the Pentagon sometimes launders and shifts such monies to other parts of the DOD's budget. And this is no mistake. This is fraud, all right? How do you know when something is fraud? Well, one way is when the paper trail is covered up. Indeed, more than 16,000 records that might reveal either the source or the destination of some of that $6.5 trillion had been removed. 16,000 records. Well, it was an accident. You see, what had happened was we lost the receipt down in the couch cushions. And I have 16,000 couches. The Pentagon's accounting fraud diverts many billions of dollars that could be devoted to other national needs: healthcare, education, job creation, climate action, infrastructure, modernization, and more. Indeed, the Pentagon's accounting fraud amounts to theft on a grand scale. Theft not only from America's taxpayers, but also from the nation's well-being and its future. But apparently, disappearing 16,000 documents wasn't enough. Somebody might still connect the dots. So now they've taken the next step. The most recent report from the DOD on the OIG website summarizes unsupported adjustments for fiscal year 2017. However, this document differs from all previous reports in that all the numbers relating to the unsupported adjustments were redacted. That is, all the relevant information was blacked out. And there it is. Even the title. They had to hit the title. You see, what had happened was each of those numbers fell out of the document down into the couch cushions. Did I mention I have 16,000 couches? So right after The Nation came out with this past week, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted about it, basically saying that these unaccounted trillions at the Pentagon could help pay for Medicare for all. So clearly things are ramping up. People are finding out about the $21 trillion, and that means it is now time for the true corporate hacks to jump in and drag everyone who dares speak out about this issue. Enter Vox, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's a cross between Huffington Post and an NPR tote bag filled with rotting, diseased raccoon carcasses. So Vox put out an article titled "The $21 trillion accounting error that can't pay for Medicare for all." And you know how you can tell for sure that you're a nitwit spraying idiocy like a super soaker? Yeah. When you find yourself saying the phrase $21 trillion accounting error. Error? Yeah, and Bill Cosby just got the drinks mixed up 63 times. Yet Maddie Iglesias at Vox says The Pentagon's accounting errors are genuinely enormous, but they're also just accounting errors. They don't represent actual money that can be spent or on something else. Sorry, asshole. It's as impossible to have trillions of dollars of accounting errors as it is to accidentally bump into the asses of 20,000 people in an hour. Just like, oh, sorry, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry, oh, jeez, oh, God, oh, God, oh, I'm sorry, oh, wow, okay, oh, I'm sorry, oh, Jesus. Since I'm getting too angry to control my saliva at this point, I'll let the writer at Forbes respond to you. This is not simply a matter of boring accounting. Trillions in unaccounted outlays, if that's what's involved here, is trillions of our tax dollars being spent without our knowledge. If that's the case, we're talking about the biggest government financial deception in the history of the country. So basically, to sum it up here, Vox is actually a sad group of corporate shills. The Defense Department is actually an organized human murder company. And the $21 trillion of adjustments is actually massive fraud, which means Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is actually mostly right. But more importantly, this story is starting to gain traction. People can see the truth. And right now, it is the corporate media tools who are trying to make sure you think, it's just some accounting errors. Pay no mind to the fact that it amounts to the largest theft ever perpetrated against the American people. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., this is Redacted Tonight!